This. No, I don't like Somalis. I don't want them in my country, and they bring absolutely nothing of value here. And I know people are going to sit there and scream and cry, oh my gosh, the statistics, they're so racist. But at the end of the day, the facts are the facts, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I mean, genuinely, what have they brought of value here? And I'm not saying that they're all bad on an individual level. I understand that people who lack nuance aren't going to be able to comprehend that as a collective they're bad. Individuals, I'm sure that there are some that are fine, just like any other population. But if you look at the violent crime statistics, you would see that it's not stopping when they get to America. Somalia has a terrible problem with violent crime. They come into places like Minnesota, and despite being an extremely disproportionate amount of the population, their violent crime rates are sky high. It's absolutely disgusting, doing some of the worst atrocities like raping young girls, because over there in their country, they do not value women. They do not see them as an equal, and they are totally okay with things like child marriage. In fact, when there was a law proposed to raise the marriage age to 18 years old, the protest got so bad from the grown men that the courts decided that they were just going to leave it at the age of 9. Is that what you want brought into your country? Is that what you want around your wives, your sisters, your daughters, just other human beings? Is that what you want to bring into this country so that you could feel better about being a white warrior? I'm sorry, that's absolutely disgusting. We know that once they got into this country, were they grateful? Did they work harder to make it better? No. They scammed the welfare system out of millions while Tim Walz just sat back and allowed them to do so. That's absolutely abhorrent. We know that Somalia is one of the most dangerous countries for Christians going, so why would we bring them into a predominantly Christian country where they're going to go around trying to propose their views, force their views down people's throats? Because in Islam, that's something that's seen as permissible to do. We know that they have a huge terrorism problem, so why would we invite that into our country? Just because a country is poor and struggling does not automatically mean that it's America's problem. I'm sorry, but they're poor and they're struggling because of who they are as people. So many other countries have been dealt a bad hand, and they've been able to figure it out. Countries such as Somalia aren't able to because of the people living there. We do not need to import them to make our country worse. Sorry.
I agree with her, because I don't think that this has anything to do with racism against Somalis whatsoever. This has everything to do with cultural norms. This has everything to do with whether or not they're taking advantage of the system. When you talk about violent crime, which I wasn't even familiar with that statistic, that's news to me. But it makes sense, because you don't change who you are just because you move. You take you with you. So if you move to another place, but then you adopt the same principles, which accurately explains all of the fraud that's now being uncovered over in Minneapolis, and people finessing the system, and Ilhan Omar completely ignoring it, acting like she sent the letter and all of that. Well, now it starts to make sense, because your culture is the same. And so you feel entitled to this land, even though you're not necessarily contributing into it. And so it's not racist to say that you don't want people in your country when you understand that it's completely being taken over and destroyed from people that don't necessarily appreciate what was built and what blood was spilled in order to get to where we are. And so now we have a bunch of white apologist women that are basically justifying, because they feel so hurt at the fact that Trump is holding them accountable